To you, what does this say now about the entire investigation? Is it rotten to the core?
Listen, it always has been.
You're right.
We always said this. I mean, it is so ridiculous that let it go, though. At this point, let it go.
Give nothing to hide.
Nothing. The real problem that I've had with it is, other than millions in legal fees and lots of time wasted and being smeared throughout the media for years, that at least they uncovered this. Because what if they wouldn't have? What if they would have just let it go? At this point, I mean, there is a little bit of sweet revenge in it for me and certainly probably the family, in the sense that if they wouldn't have done this, this stuff would be going on.
You're right.
This would be going on at the highest levels of government. They'd be continuing to do it to my father, trying to undermine his actions. Imagine how effective he can be given the year he's had without this cloud over his head. So I want them to come to a conclusion already, because you've been looking for 2 years. You've come up with nothing other than their own nefarious actions and their own collusions. They've come up with nothing. So at this point, you got to come to something. Like, just come to something. Because if they try to drag it out for a year, they try to drag it so that, the Democrats have their talking points. I watch it right now. You see the Democratic senators, this is McCarthyism. I'm like, what? You have a guy that's been screaming, Russia, 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 with no evidence, obvious collusion, all this shade, for 18 months screaming about McCarthyism? I mean, the irony is ridiculous at this point.
One of the people that's been giving you a hard time is Schiff, one of the, I think, House Intelligence Committee minority leaders, Democrat. What would you like to say to Adam Schiff right now?
Well, listen, I think he's got some soul searching to do. He's been out there, obviously 99% of intelligent people believe he's the person leaking this. When I did my testimony to his committee, it was supposed to be behind closed doors. It was supposed to be secret. We get done at 7 o'clock at night. I go, and starting at 12 o'clock in my Twitter feed, I'm reading about verbatim what's going on in the room. So as people are taking bathroom breaks, this is being leaked from the House Intelligence Committee. Think about that. But that's what's going on in our government. These guys, and I can see the response that he's had he's scared because he's had the media in their back pockets, as we see from all of this.
Yep.
These guys are working together with the radical left, and they're getting whatever they want done. The problem is, they used to have some credibility, so people still believe that, so they're able to sell that narrative. That's why you could see them ramping up so effectively to try to say, oh, this isn't really a big deal. Oh, this is made up. Oh, this is going to be a big dud. By the way, I guarantee you, after we leave this, that's what we're going to be reading about from all of the major sources, because they're all complicit. They're saving their souls.
If it was such a big dud, they wouldn't have cared if it got out. But obviously they are panicking because they have something to hide. I want to show the audience what your father said when he was asked about the memo. Let's hear it.
What do you think of it?
I think it's terrible. You want to know the truth? I think it's a disgrace. What's going on in this country, I think it's a disgrace. The memo was sent to Congress. It was declassified. Congress will do whatever they're going to do. But I think it's a disgrace what's happening in our country. And when you look at that and you see that and so many other things, what's going on, a lot of people should be ashamed of themselves, and much worse than that. So I sent it over to Congress. They will do what they're going to do. Whatever they do is fine. It was declassified. And let's see what happens. But a lot of people should be ashamed. Thank you very much.
So you've had two competing narratives that have gone on for the last year. You have on the one side, in the media on the left, that Donald Trump is a colluder. He's an obstructor of justice, and he was in cahoots with the Russians in order to help win the presidency. On the other hand, you've had people reporting, a lot of this on our network, it turns out to be true now, that the Department of Justice and the FBI under President Obama rigged the investigation for Hillary and then really turned the screws to Trump. And now it looks like in a corrupt and illegal way. Yep. And the facts are out now. And the facts belong on this side.
100%. And by the way, this has been a much more recent narrative, frankly, than the other. I mean, they've been looking at the other one for over 2 years.
You're right.
Okay, when they found, I took a meeting, 20-minute meeting. Big, but they needed it to be true.
So much like your dad. I took a meeting. But
they needed it to be true because they staked their entire credibility. Their whole narrative, that was, oh, now we can keep going. Now we can keep on the heat because they all knew what was going on. So what is this